So poops, we have a lot of parties out there, and not even the fun kinds, but yes, political parties. A fact that some people like to say shows that there is a split. People are divided, just like Mahathir Mohamad, who says that this is the final battle for the Malays. So poops, Tun Dr Mahathir thinks that we are at the stage of the final battle for the Malays. Here's what he says. Unity and party. Once upon a time, the Malays were united through one party, which was UMNO. They succeeded in beating the British. What was important was not UMNO, but the unity through UMNO. Today, many have the opinion that UMNO defeated the British and therefore the party can bring victory. Thus, a lot of parties came about. They split up the Malays. They competed amongst themselves. It was not possible that any of them would win. They lost. The country was put in a pawn shop. The Malay land had become the land of other people. Who was wrong? The people who were wrong were the Malays. This is the last fight for the Malays. And there you go. What a wonderful critique. One backed up, by the way, by a certain Akmal Saleh, who responded by supporting Tun M by saying, "Selagi Melayu berpecah, kita lemah." Nice rhyme there, bro. But yeah, the point sticks. I think I mentioned before in previous videos that there's nothing wrong with Malay unity. If you want to come together for a purpose that is useful, then that's great. But you know, it's kind of wild to be hearing that from Tun M because as far as I know, Tun M complaining about this is like a guy who puts a spade in the ground and digs for 10 minutes and then later complains that there is a hole. I mean, come on. Maybe you remember Mahathir writing a letter to Tunku Abdul Rahman blaming him for failing to protect the Malays, being too accommodating towards non-Malays and asking him to step down. Maybe you remember the whole UMNO Baru thing, where in 1987 and 88, UMNO was declared illegal, and then the very same Mahathir went out and started building UMNO Baru. Maybe you also remember how after he retired, he went after Badawi, his chosen successor, because the guy wouldn't bring his crooked bridge into real life. Before later on, he founded Bersatu in 2016 after he ran afoul of Najib. Split. And then after the whole COVID pandemic, Muhyiddin, Sheraton Move, resigning instead of handing over to Anwar Ibrahim, started Pejuang, Gerakan Tanah Air. Split. So bro, when you're saying that yang silap ialah orang Melayu, this is the final battle for the Malays, I have to wonder really, who is at fault? I mean, just look at the comment sections past the 592 laugh reacts and there you can see, oh, it was you who started new parties to split up the Malays. Oh yes, Tun, especially the one who started Bersatu and Pejuang. And it goes on with a why? And you know, there are some people who try to defend Tun M, be all like, oh, it was not what he wanted. His goal was to unite the Malays after seeing Ketuanan destroyed. To which somebody said, oh, don't blame Tun M. If I'm not wrong, he's not Malay, right? That's not accurate constitutionally, but it is funny. But you know, all of this stuff is pretty fascinating. Maybe there was a rationale, but I don't know if you would call it a final battle in the sense that everybody is supposed to be united or something like that. I mean, people like to talk about unity in Malaysia, and again, it's not a bad thing, but it's just that if you're a political leader, it is in your incentive to talk about unity and then try to become Prime Minister so that you can get all the benefits related to that, while pretending that you actually care about whatever group it is that you're trying to advocate for. And honestly, if I look at every single one of them throughout the course of time, I really wonder if any of them actually cared about their people in the first place. And I think the answer is no. They pretended to, but they did not. But either way, it looks like we do have this whole landscape of different parties at the moment, and sure, that could split up a bunch of people. And it's also true that it's not entirely Mahathir's fault that all this happened. I mean, we all remember what happened with Muhyiddin and Hamza from best friends forever, we're all in this together, for turning into number one enemy before they end up sitting together It's kind of funny, honestly. But frankly, I think it's kind of sad that Tun M is talking about the last battle for the Malays, suggesting that this whole race-religion thing is still relevant in 2026, or it can continue to be relevant in the distant future, when its number one protector, it seems, is 101 years old, is constantly talking about umbrellas for the Malays, featuring these best friends, now turned enemies together, making grand declarations that he is the number one hero of unity. Fascinating and oh so cute. So much of stuff like this, so much of playing victim, honestly. Even his previous post talking about how there is no slogan more meaningful than Bersatu, Teguh, Bercerai, Roboh. But really, over what are you going to Bersatu? Are you gonna Bersatu over Akmal's UMNO past collaboration, or are you going to listen to party president who says that UMNO won't be bitten twice by the same snake? Pass. And what are you going to unite around? Like religion? Menungganging religion? Slandering? Calling people communists? Watching people scream Type C and Barua? And all sorts of lovely words that demonstrate the adab that these people learn, while all of them yaya papaya about so-called unity and how it is so truly amazing right before they betray one another. Of course, it's a comedy show that not everybody watches out there, except people who care about Malaysia, but I think it is a comedy show nonetheless, and in developing our local entertainment industry, I think that it's worthwhile to talk about, because it is absolutely so sad, and unfortunately it affects the fate of our country. I really don't get why people like Tun M like to constantly act like, oh, this race needs to do X, Y, and Z, and why we have to be in conflict with one another. And I think that a lot of y'all out there who happen to be Malay have that exact perspective. And I think more of you would, if not for the fact that there are people out there screaming that you're a Barwa, a liberal, or any number of other things. Not that it really matters though, because those people are the exact same people who are creating parties and dividing yourselves apart while fighting for things that are useless. But hey, if you think that this is the final battle, then good luck. But I somehow have this nagging feeling that when people look back on the tides of history and everything that you said and everything that you did not say, then they are going to think that for fighting this incredible battle that the historians will remember and think about, they will remember you all as a flock of idiots. Whoa, 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 whoa. What do you think of the final battle, Sapoops? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. That's all to say about that, and bye.